Hey, I'm back. That was pretty quick, hey? Imagine that. I'm Iron, Dirty Dragon, and I'm going to show you my part shade deer proof in my garden plants. I'm going to do a quick tour of the beds first with like sort of a general look at how I've arranged them, and then I'm going to go through and ID individual plants and a couple of shrubs and stuff that will work. None of this is irrigated, it's all hand watered by me, and yeah, the deer don't touch it for the most part. Sometimes babies will browse it, but most of them I have no problem with. Alright, I'm going to go over some of the plants that are good for part shade in my garden that are deer proof. You've seen this bed before in one of my other videos. And I have a couple other beds here too, so I'm going to go over the plants that deer never touch that are good for part shade. And most of them are drought tolerant as well, because out here I only hand water, there's no irrigation, and there's a number of trees and a cedar hedge that suck up the water. So a lot of these are pretty drought tolerant. Okay, I'm going to go through and ID each individual one for you guys. So here's Rhododendron. Deer will not eat most of these. Now I'm going to say most because I have one in the back that I bought off of a lady whose deer ate it to stubs, strangely. I don't know what makes a particular one more appealing to another, or from another, but I've never found that they eat any of mine. So maybe test it. Leave it in the pot and put it out where your deer are going to get it, if you have the option, and see what they do. This is Hellebore. Very toxic, and the deer never touch them. I've never even seen them nibble the babies or anything. So very safe to put in the garden with deer. This is a pretty ground cover called Saxophogus Delinifera. This particular variety is Maroon Beauty. Lovely foliage on that one. And the flowers look like little fairies. They come up about 16 inches. And they bloom in summertime. This is Flower. He's very deer resistant. Way too way too chicken shit to be deer food. Hey, Mr. Flower. Oh, he's such a handsome boy. This is our native sword fern. Lovely architectural form, and the deer don't touch them. This beautiful one here, the heart-shaped leaves, is called Brunnera. And it's got flowers similar to a forget-me-not, except that it's a perennial. And it's got kind of I'm not going to say hairy, but very, well, yeah, it is kind of hairy. You can see on the stem there, the little hairs. So it's kind of got a weird texture to it. So that might be why the deer don't touch it. This is Hakone macra, all gold. Golden Hakone grass, Japanese forest grass. Absolutely stunning grass. It's just coming up now because of the long spring, but when it's grown up a little bit more, it'll kind of cascade. So it's very, very, very pretty. It softens up the landscape quite nicely. Again, deer don't eat grasses, so pretty much any grass that you put in your garden, they're not going to touch. This is an astilbe. I don't remember which variety it is, but it's not really important. I have found that the babies will sometimes munch on astilbe, but again, it depends on the variety. So it's kind of weird that way. This one here doesn't get, okay, maybe I should tell you what it is, because the deer don't eat this one. If I can find the tag somewhere here. Never mind. Anyway, so I guess I would just suggest maybe to trial it if you can, if you have the option of a fenced area versus a non-fenced area. This one is good, and I have another one called Sprite that is good. That's a little dwarf one. Japanese painted fern. For that matter, any fern. This is a Dryopteris, I believe. And then over here, I have another sword fern. And over here, I have a really pretty lacy fern that I can't remember the name of because the ferns have kind of more complicated names for me to remember. I'd have to look it up. But anyway, all ferns are safe from deer. This is a Japanese maple, waterfall maple. Dragon something or other, I'm not exactly sure. The threadleaf kind. A lot of them they will eat, but they don't touch these ones. So only get the kind with these little dissected, very thready, fine cut leaves. Also, they make a beautiful, beautiful color in the fall. Very pretty plant. Primulas. Super easy to grow and so pretty because you can get so many colors of them. All colors of the rainbow. They like moist soil to do really, really well. They're not drought tolerant. The deer don't touch any of my primulas, and I've got a ton of them out here. They're just about finished for the season now, so just about to cut them back. This is black Mondo grass, Ophiopogon nigra, or nigrescens, I think. Another really lovely ground cover type thing. It will send out little runners under the ground, and it can spread really fast in good conditions. Doesn't like to get dried out. It'll turn brown and just really fucking ugly. So don't let it dry out too much. I hand water in here, and that's plenty enough, but the soil retains some moisture, so it's not a problem. They have a very nice lilac colored flower, and then in late summer and winter, here these ones are left over from last season, blackberries. So they're very highly ornamental, and they're very pretty if you combine them with colchicum, autumn crocus, or really anything that has like a pale purple, pale blue, pale pink flower. Just really sets it off beautifully. This one here is pulmonaria. Also doesn't like to dry out. Will get very dramatic and sulky if you dry it out. It'll flop. It'll bounce right back again as soon as you water it, but it's not going to make the plant happy. This one is called Samurai, and the leaves actually go full silver in the summertime after the flowering is done. So it's quite a pretty variety, but any of them will do. They do tend to seed a little bit, but I don't find that a problem. Very easy to pull them. These gorgeous daisies are Doronicum. They come up right now in the springtime and go dormant in the summertime when it gets hot and dry. So you probably want to plant them in between other things when the foliage dies back, so that in the summer you're not left with a gap. The bees love them, and they're just such a beautiful sunshiny flower and quite tall. This one is probably 3.5 feet, I guess. Really pretty, as you can see, against the Japanese maple that I've got back there. So, Doronicum. Back here is a Ligularia. This one is called King Kong. It's gigantimous. The leaves are not finished growing yet, but they'll grow probably twice that size by the middle of the summer. They do not like to dry out, and the funny thing is, this bed is right next to the cedar hedge, so normally I would think that would be a problem because of the fact that the cedars like to slurp up all the water, but this Ligularia and the other little one that I have over there, no problem whatsoever. They put out spikes of really rich gold, almost orange flowers in late summer, and the deer have never touched them. This one here is a native called Anthem race Molsom. Really beautiful architectural form on it, as you can see. Just stunning. The leaves, the shapes of the leaves. Look at that. Just so beautiful. And these flowers, oh, they smell amazing. I can smell them on the other side of the fence about 5 feet away. If they get pollinated well, which it looks like they are being pollinated this year really well, they will put off red berries. And the deer have never touched them. All right, so that's a list of part shade plants that you can grow that are deer resistant. not proof, deer resistant. Some like boggy, wet soil, some like dry soil. You'll probably have to look that up and just see if they're going to suit your needs, but at least the list will help you with names. The names of the ones that I've given you in the video will be written down on the list next. All right, talk to you later.